This is Duke University.
There is one country with two peoples in it, who live in it. The Israeli Jewish people and the Palestinian people. Both peoples have the right for self-determination. Only the Jews, the Israeli Jews, have attained their right of self-determination. The Palestinians have not yet. And the third principle, or the guiding principle, is that of equality. Without equality, we cannot envisage life, a good life for the two peoples in the country. How we translate this principle of equality into reality depends on the two peoples, depends on the intervention of the world. My name is Amira Hass. I work for the Israeli daily Haaretz. I'm reporting from the occupied Palestinian territory. I used to live in Gaza, now I live in the West Bank, in Ramallah. The people that I address the information to and address in my mind when I write the Israelis do not want to know, so they do not read. The Israelis for the past 20 years were led to believe, but very willingly led to believe, that they are being attacked by the Palestinians, that they are not occupiers anymore since Oslo. There is a Palestinian authority. The Israeli army is not in the main cities, so there is no real occupation. There is no occupation anymore. So what do they complain, the Palestinians? And this is another challenge to fight against a very, very heavy machinery of propaganda, Israeli propaganda. But it is not just a propaganda that you can. It is not that there is a ministry of propaganda that is fabricating all this information, but the people themselves want to be misled. They want not to know. People do not want to disrupt the fake normality in which they live. Knowing might disrupt it. Knowing that it is not normal to dominate for almost 50 years, to control Palestinians for almost 50 years without giving them the right to vote, to decide about their life, to take their land, to decide about their small details such as not small, but as marriage, as having a family, seeing family. Israelis do not want to be bothered by this information that is so Israeli. This information is about Israeli policies. It is not about Palestinians. It is part of struggle on resources, nature resources. It is part of the division between empire, American empire or Western empire, Western imperialism, and the way that they try to dominate other parts of the world. So we have to take into also, I think, also consideration the danger of brutalization and irreversible brutalization. That's why one has to think about ways of resistance which may impede the potential of brutalization. I very much doubt if Israel would have existed, or the way it existed, if not for the Holocaust, or if the Zionist project would have been so successful if not for the Holocaust. They saw themselves as Jews, both my parents. My mother in Yugoslavia, my father in Romania, and they felt, okay, as Jews we don't feel anything to do with the idea of a nation state. We feel both. My mother felt Yugoslav, my father felt Romanian. But after the Holocaust, after Bergen-Belsen, after my father was in a ghetto, they sensed what many other Jews sensed in Europe, that they are not welcome. They returned from the concentration camps or ghettos or the hiding places, and they felt that they were not welcome. And not only in East Europe, but also in Western Europe. It's a common experience of many Jews also in Holland, in France, in Belgium. One has to understand the historical context, which is always very important for me to tell to Palestinians mainly. That yes, Israel has very strong characteristics of a colonialist entity, colonialist society. Zionism is very much integrated into the worldview of colonialist Europe of the 19th century. which did not see the natives in the countries which it colonized. But this is not the only story of Zionism and of the Israeli state, because Zionism was also one of the responses that the Jewish communities looked for when they fought or when they were looked for ways to get away from anti-Semitism and persecution. And this is very hard to reconcile. I'm not trying to reconcile between the two. I say one has to understand the historical sequence, but it is not in order to exonerate Israel. But this is also a way for me to tell Palestinians, you cannot just compare Israel or the Israeli colonialist project or the Jewish colonialist project to, let's say, French colonialist project in Algeria. The Pied Noir had a place to go to. Whites in South Africa had a place to go to, or a culture to go to. The Israelis do not have a place. We can emigrate, etc. Well, but we will not find something which is similar to Israeli culture elsewhere. It is so tragic and so infuriating that the refuge that Israel became to so many of the survivors and the establishment of the State of Israel actually was at the expense of Palestinians and caused this disaster to the Palestinian life. The more I live among Palestinians, the more I understand the scope of this disaster, of really losing their homeland.
Produced by Duke University, online at duke.edu.